Morning that continues, I believe Grant was until 11:15 for southern Bollinger County.
Yes, sir.
Moving
right
to
here.
the east
and
at 35 to 40 miles an hour.
We're gonna put a path on that, because if it holds together, you can see there's a lot of folks that will be in the path of this. Marble Hill, the main town center, the actual tornado, at least on radar, would stay just to your south. But take a look at this path that I'm drawing. And this path, if we went right through the center, is going to be headed through kind of near Whitewater, near Dalhousie. My wife, Anita, I hope you're watching. You've got 50 minutes to get in the basement. You got 50 minutes to get in the basement. That's headed right towards my house. So we got to continue to watch this very, very closely. Lots of folks under the gun with this if this holds together. Let's go ahead and take another look at the storm itself to see if we have any more rotation, if it's weakening, if it's getting stronger. Right now, it's just to the southwest of Marble Hill, and it's getting a little bit diffuse, if you will. It's not quite as strong as it was. And boy, I hope that trend continues, because earlier it looked very, very impressive as it was moving off to the east, and we want this to die down. We don't want it to hit anybody, but you know, we kind of get that donut hole right there that tells me that rain is wrapping all the way around this system right here, as this storm is headed towards Highway 51 and staying just to the south of Highway 34, and 34 going into Marble Hill. It looks like you're going to see a lot of hail probably. If I'm looking at this correctly, we'll take a look at the hail probabilities moving into Marble Hill, and there is definitely some hail on the back side of this storm. It's going to move into Marble Hill. So we've got hail possibilities. We have a tornado possibility and very strong gusty winds with this storm in southern Bollinger County. That's why we went on the air during the 10 when it was still showing just signs of rotation. Now, you can see we still have a little bit of that tornado warning out for Wayne County, but Wayne County, this tornado is now moved to your east. This radar indicated tornado is no longer in your neck of the woods. So there's good news for Wayne County. Still watching Bollinger County very closely. Now, as we extend things out, we're seeing a lot of severe storms in southern Illinois. We're seeing another strong storm forming just to the east of Jackson, and a very severe storm right here that is moving towards Reynolds County if it holds together. That looks like a big hail producer on radar. But let's take a look at our folks in southern Illinois, because I am a little bit concerned with the shear vectors here as well that Brian was talking about with some of these storms where there were a couple of inflow notches, and sometimes we get quick spin-ups. So we want to make sure that everybody is safe. Boy, that inflow notch near Glendale is a little concerning to me. And then there's another one just to the northwest of Shawneetown. So let's kind of put our scope on here and look inside. Yeah. And we're starting to see a little bit of a spin up. It's not very strong on the outflow, but the inflow is very strong. So this is something we'll have to watch closely. Gallatin County, especially north of Shawneetown, expect damaging winds moving through your area right now. It would be a good idea just to go ahead and get into your basement, even though this is not a real tight circulation of hinting of a tornado. There still could be some damaging winds with this storm as it moves off to the east, northeast at about 40 miles per hour. As we follow this gust front down, we're going down to Glendale. Thankfully, we don't see anything wrapping up there at this time. Do see some very strong gusty winds. So the main threat with the storms right here in southern Illinois, very strong gusty winds and hail, but we're watching this inflow notch very closely near Shawneetown. And what I mean by an inflow notch, you kind of see how that moves right in there. We've got an update to the tornado warning, so let's go ahead and get an idea of what's going on with the tornado warning. And they've just trimmed back the tornado warning, just like we talked about Wayne County. You're no longer in it. Boy, you can see that donut hole right there to the south. That usually whenever we see that, we saw that a lot the night of the Perryville tornado. Excuse me, and it just went away, and hopefully that trend will continue. But we're going to zoom back into that area now and take a closer look. Let me remove all these severe thunderstorm warnings because we know they're coming out. There's going to be tons of severe thunderstorm warnings tonight. And our main concern right now is with the possibility of a tornado that is moving into southern Bollinger County. So let's take our zoom and we'll go back in and inspect this storm that's moving south of Marble Hill right now. And if it holds together, we're talking about Delta, we're talking about Whitewater, and again, we're talking about the southern parts of Cape Girardeau if this storm holds together as it moves off to the east at 40 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the shear. And boy, it is much weaker. It is really, you know, that donut hole we saw is gone, Brian, and it's just kind of showing some strong gusty winds right now, which is so thankful. And hopefully this trend will continue as it moves across Highway 51 south of Marble Hill. I know there's a lot of folks that live around the Marble Hill area that are under the gun with this warning. Matter of fact, we can kind of give you an idea of how many people are possibly being impacted by this radar-indicated tornado that thankfully appears as though it is weakening just a bit. You can see, well, it's not spitting out our population on it for us, but it's a tornado warning for Bollinger County until 11:15. And again, so far we haven't had any confirmation, and hopefully we won't, but we're going to zoom back in a little closer to get some of these roads. Again, it's moving just to the south. This is where the rotation is. It's moving just to the south of Highway 34. Highway 34 is just getting pummeled with heavy rain and probably some hail with this as well as it moves off to the east at 40 miles per hour. We can look inside this storm and see what we've got here hail-wise possibly. And oh yeah, we've got, see that yellow mixing in with the red? That just tells us that there's some ice falling from that storm. So there's definitely some hail falling from the sky, probably up to quarter size at least. And as we look for rotation, there are signs of weak rotation just between Highway 34 and Missouri Highway H. Excuse me, and Missouri Highway FF, right in this general area. But all in all, it's not showing signs of rotation like it was. So that's definitely some fantastic news. So let's back things up, get a update on what's going on. We have a tornado warning out for southern Bollinger County. That's why we're on the air right now. We have severe thunderstorm warnings out for White County, for Gallatin County, for Saline County, for parts of Johnson County, and extreme northern Pope County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning surrounding the tornado warning in Bollinger County. And I anticipate a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued for Cape Girardeau County because of this storm right here as it moves into Cape Girardeau County. I don't think that right now, based on what we see on radar, that the tornado warning will be extended into Cape Girardeau County because the rotation is weakening just a bit, and let's hope that trend continues. I want to check the rotation we were looking at closely near Shawneetown. Because we still have that inflow notch. You can kind of see it right here, just to the east of Ridgeway. And again, this is and to the south of New Haven. This is in Gallatin County, just to the north of Shawneetown. And yeah, there's rotation there, but it's very broad. You see the reds over here, then there's light and dark green, and then that bright blue. So the strongest winds going towards the radar and the strongest winds going away from the radar are very well apart. So we've got some turbulence right here. We've got some rotation with the inflow notch, but we do not have any signs of rotation that would be considered tornadic right now. So just a severe thunderstorm warning for the folks in Gallatin County with that very strong wind and $half size hail that could definitely do some damage as well. We've got another suspicious, if you will, inflow notch between Ozark and Glendale that we want to take a look at. It's going to be headed into Pope County here very shortly. Let's go ahead and put that shear marker on right here and take a look in here. And thankfully, yeah, that rotation, there's no rotation showing up in the low levels. So we just have hail and high winds with that severe storm. So the only storm that is really showing signs of rotation right now is the storm that is in Bollinger County that we have that tornado warning out on. And any word, Brian, on what has been spotted or seen with this storm?
Well, Grant, right now, still fairly quiet. Not seeing a whole lot of communication or interaction right now. Still tracking several thunderstorms moving across the heartland. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly another one beginning to work its way into, let's say, Reynolds and Iron County in the next 30 to 45 minutes. So, again, a tornado warning continues until 11:15 for southern and central Bollinger County. It continues to move off to the east at 35 miles an hour. A lot of thunderstorm activity, some torrential rain and some very strong wind in southern Illinois. So let's zoom in very quickly. We'll talk about that. The jagged edges, the leading edge of these thunderstorms. You see how ragged the edge of these thunderstorms appear. So very strong wind on the leading edge of these thunderstorms, but we're not seeing a good indication of rotation right now. As Grant was leading on to, chances are these thunderstorms a little more elevated. At the same time, since the Evansville radar site is down right now, so we're getting all of our wind information from the Paducah radar site, and you can tell it's a little bit farther than your Evansville site is right now. So we're going to continue watching very strong wind on the leading edge of these thunderstorms, approaching 50 to 60 miles an hour. That's why we have these severe thunderstorm warnings out until 11:30. It does include Shawneetown, Harrisburg, El Dorado, all the way back to Ozark, also Vienna. All these thunderstorms beginning to train. And what we mean by training is they develop and they move downstream, very similar to cars on the tracks, on the train tracks. These one thunderstorm develops, moves downstream. Another thunderstorm develops and moves downstream. So this is what we're talking about, that flash flooding threat. Aside from the large hail and the damaging straight line wind, we're also dealing with the threat of flash flooding. Now, these thunderstorms could produce 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour, and you have countless thunderstorms rolling over the same area in a short amount of time. So watch your area creeks, your streams, neighborhoods with drainage issues. This is going to become an issue, not only for, let's say, the duration of the severe thunderstorm warning, but for the remainder of the evening into early Saturday morning. So again, severe thunderstorm warning stretching from Shawneetown all the way down to Harrisburg, Vienna until 11:30 p.m. So we still have about 28 minutes left on those severe thunderstorm warnings. Also, a tornado warning remains in effect until 11:15 for southern and central Bollinger County. Now, Marble Hill, the northern extent of that warning, but if it continues to move on its easterly track, will be approaching Delta at this time. Grant was talking about the wind not looking as impressive. This is the latest look at velocity. Still seeing a little bit of weak rotation, but either way, some strong wind coming in, about to cross Highway 41 in southern Bollinger County. So again, we'll have to watch these thunderstorms very, very closely over the next several hours, Grant.
Yeah, that we just gonna have to watch, because this is the kind of storm. It's in the environment. It could be cycling. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, where the storm would look very well defined with rotation, and then it weakened, and then it would flare back up again. But excuse me, let's put another storm track on this, get an update on the storm, and I'm going to be tracking it from where the possible rotation is. And again, it's moving off to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So as we put it up to 40 miles per hour, you can see all these communities that could be impacted. And if you follow the exact centroid of this wedge, you can see it's going to be going just to the north of the airport. It's going to be going just to the south of the station here in Cape Girardeau. It'd be just south of us at about 45 minutes. It'll be going right through the Dalhousie area, right along Bloomfield Road. If you know where Menards is, that's about, let's say about 35 minutes out from that area if this holds together. I'm just naming some landmarks so you can kind of visualize where this storm is headed, so you can say, hey, I live near that area. I need to take this storm seriously. So here is the latest, and you can see the track that we have on the storm. Now, let's get everything caught up to date, because we've got lots of storms. Brian just kept you up to date with these storms right here. This is a monster storm. It looks like a big hail producer. This could be one of those storms that has those golf ball size hail in it, that's going to be moving off to the northeast or the east-northeast. That'll be going across our northern counties. This should not pose a tornado threat, as it's a little cooler here. This is north of the warm front. But these storms that are right along the warm front are what we are concerned with. Even though we have a severe thunderstorm watch and not a tornado watch, we can sometimes get these spin-ups like we saw the other day, what we had coming from Hickman County into Graves County, Kentucky, and what we're seeing right now in Bollinger County in Missouri. So let's take a look at these storms, and we're going to kind of scope inside them right along this warm front. which is where the worst of these storms will be, because there's a lot of energy just to the south of the warm front that these storms can take in. We've got that one inflow notch just to the north of Shawneetown. We're still seeing a little bit of weak rotation, but the main threat there in northern Gallatin County is very, very strong winds, and we're following this gust front all the way down. You can see we're looking for rotation. We're not seeing any rotation, so that's some fantastic news, but we are seeing some very strong gusty winds with this storm all along the gust front. So all these severe thunderstorm warnings mean business. We're going to see power outages. We're going to see trees knocked down, possible power loss for quite some time, especially if some power poles are snapped. That's the kind of winds that we're talking about inside these storms right now that are moving through southern Illinois. And as we pan things out and we go back into southeast Missouri, we still have that tornado warning out. I think it's until 11:15, but this storm is moving into Cape Girardeau County, and I anticipate a severe thunderstorm at least to be issued for Cape Girardeau County, at least parts of it, here shortly, as it's getting awfully close to the county line right now. But let's kind of take a look inside the rotation. It looks like it's trying to cycle up, and we may be getting a new formation just to the southeast of Marble Hill. And I sure hope that is not the case. I would like for this rotation just to kind of die down, but no, it's getting a new rotation right here. It's weak. It's not as strong as the other one, but you can see we've got a rotating thunderstorm right here to the south of Marble Hill. Winds going towards the radar, winds going away from the radar, right next to each other in a small little corridor there, and it has just been going right to the south of Highway 34. Now, we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued, or it could be just a reissuance of what we had, and it is just kind of trimming the one for Gallatin County here. And you can see we do have a little bit of spin being indicated with this storm as well, and you can see the path. It'll be out of Gallatin County. Each one of these, again, are 15 minutes, so in about 20 minutes it'll be out of Gallatin County, that new severe thunderstorm. But what we've got right now, still a tornado warning out for Bullinger County, and the possible tornado is just to the south of Marble Hill. And as we look for debris, we're not really seeing any indication of debris at this time. So that is some fantastic news. We can look and see if we have any large hail falling. And yeah, it looks like there is a hail spike right there, right in Marble Hill. So Marble Hill, you're probably experiencing some hail. If you are, head on over to my Facebook page, if you will, and let me know what size we're seeing so I can relay that to the Weather Service if we get a break here. But you can see we do have that rotation right here that is spinning around just to the south of Marble Hill. Now, for the folks in Reynolds County, I want to pan things out just a bit, and I want to see that giant storm that's headed your way, that and make sure that there's not any rotation in it. Now, more than likely, if there is rotation, it'll be what we call aloft, meaning that the tornado threat will be very, very low. But this looks to be like a big storm that would possibly have some very large hail with it. And there is a little bit of weak rotation, but we can take a look at the hail inside it, and yeah, oh boy, that is a big hail core. So this has probably got at least golf balls that's falling out of it from what it looks like right now in my eyes. So that is headed towards northern Reynolds County. I'll back things out just a bit. So if you live in northern Reynolds County, Iron County, you're going to be seeing some very large hail likely with this storm right now as it moves off to the northeast. It's headed in your direction. But we're still watching the possible tornado. Again, right now, the tornado threat has weakened, it looks like, just a bit, but we'll kind of zoom back into this area. We're going to pan it back and we'll take a look. Again, I haven't had any ground truth to this storm, but we're talking about a radar-indicated tornado at least that's moving to the east of Marble Hill right now, and if it holds together, that's Cape Girardeau County right there. It'll be headed into Cape Girardeau County. I anticipate at least a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued here shortly if the shear does not increase, if the spin does not increase. It looks like it's trying to wrap up again, but it's broad. Remember what we talked about? We would like to see that bright green right next to that fuchsia, and it's a little further away. So it is still spinning, but right now the rotation appears to be a little broad. It's still fairly tight, still fairly strong, but just not right next to each other. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but if that trend continues, more than likely we'll just see a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Cape Girardeau County. But of course, we're going to be here watching it for you. And if it looks like it's going to spin up again, you know we'll be right here on the air keeping you up to date. So Jackson, Cape Girardeau, we've got a big storm that's headed your way. It has a tornado warning out on it right now. But as of right now, the tornado warning has not been extended into Cape Girardeau County. We're just seeing the possible rotation near Marble Hill. Is just to the southeast of Marble Hill. That rotation is kind of located between Highway 34 and Highway 51 to the southeast of Marble Hill. Right there is where we are seeing the rotation. We'll zoom in a little more, see if there's any county roads that show up on the map so you know exactly where we're talking about. And you can see County Road 402 right here. County Road 402 is showing up, and it looks like FF. I don't know if that's FF that goes across. I see State Highway N that comes out there near Highway 51. This is where the rotation is, right here, showing up on radar in Bollinger County. We're seeing the possibility of a radar-indicated tornado right now in eastern and east central Bollinger County. Brian, are you getting any other updates, or is it kind of quiet in there?
Kind of quiet in there right now. Eyes are focused on the thunderstorms that are rolling through the heartland. Again, severe thunderstorm warning stretching from Saline County and Gallatin County all the way through Pope and Johnson County, Illinois. These will be expiring in about 20 minutes or so. These are out until 11:30. Still some strong thunderstorms. They're approaching Marion from the Carbondale area as far north as Benton. These are going to continue moving to the north and east. So long after these thunderstorms are set to expire, we're going to continue seeing heavy rain train right over this same area. So we're going to be seeing some flash flooding issues along with some very strong wind and threat for some large hail. Now, a little bit farther to the south and west, we've been talking about this tornado warning that is set to expire in 3 more minutes. Well, let's have one more look at that velocity product. Still seeing some very weak, very broad rotation. You still see the greens next to the reds. That's what we look for just east of Marble Hill. This is going to continue moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. So again, the tornado warning for southeastern Bollinger County is set to expire at 11:15. But the severe thunderstorm warning continues because, as Grant was saying, there is a threat for some large hail. Let's have a look at that scope. Talking about the threat of some hail from Marble Hill to Scopus. It still looks like a threat of some hail there. Not quite as large as what we saw a little bit earlier, but then again, we haven't seen very many reports just yet. We're going to continue to track these off to the east at, let's say, 35 to 40 miles an hour. And even farther to the southwest, look at what's going on in northern Arkansas. Warnings for Fort Smith all the way up to Fayetteville to the Branson area, all the way approaching West Plains. So all these thunderstorms developing along a warm front, you can pretty much make it out. So it's stretching from Louisville, Kentucky, all the way down to Fayetteville. And these thunderstorms are going to be moving, developing one after the other right over the heartland. And this is what the radar is going to look like for the next several hours. So this is why we're so concerned with that flash flooding threat of low-lying areas with poor drainage, your streams and your creeks. So still watching the threat of severe weather right there in Cape Girardeau County, approaching Cape. We'll continue to track this severe thunderstorm, but as of right now, we still have 2 minutes left on that tornado warning that's in eastern Bollinger County.
Yeah, we've got, again, radar indicated a tornado, and it is not quite as strong as it was on radar. So there is something to be thankful for. But you could see what Brian was talking about, when we pan things out and take a look at the entire area, we've got a long night to go because all this activity that is developing out to the southwest is going to ride along that warm front. And each one of these storms is going to produce tremendous rainfall amounts. And they're going to go right across our northwestern counties. So we're going to have a tremendous flash flooding threat tonight. That's why we really emphasized this when we were talking about our First Alert Action Day for the whole weekend. It was because of how dangerous the flooding situation is going to be this weekend as we head throughout the heartland with this very, very heavy rainfall. So let's zoom in. We're going to take a look at this rotation that was on radar here. Hopefully it continues to weaken right along Highway 30.